When Waldreg killed Rowan,
Yeah.
it felt like, oh, okay, well, the writers have been wanting us to hate both these characters, Waldreg
Right.
and Rowan. Like, they're the bad guys. They're the bad humans.
Yeah.
They're the hicks, the rednecks, the unwashed hillbillies with bad opinions.
Right.
Right? That Adar here would get one to kill the other. It seems like, oh, okay, that's convenient.
I mean, look, I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt. Maybe something will happen, but it's again, like all these things that they're making these characters do, like not even in the context of the character, because we don't know the characters that well, but they don't make sense in the context of like the story, of like even advancing the story at all, other than
right. Like, I was really, this is the one character I really liked, and this scene kind of made him kind of back to a little bit token evil guy. But he did say like that he's going to blot out the sun.
like anything that's bright and warm, right?
Mm-hmm.
He wants to take away, in the same way that Feanor and his sons were deprived of the Silmarils.
Ooh.
You know what I'm talking about?
So maybe this points to a someone who wants to, like an old Noldor who wants to get revenge on reality because of the pain he's been put through.
Yeah, I mean,
the tortured first orc / elf.
I'm good with that. I honestly, to be honest with you, I'm good with either line if that's what it boils down to. I'm like I mean,
and granted, getting back to this guy and his arc or whatever, we didn't actually see Waldreg kill Rowan. We assumed that he did end up stabbing the guy. Maybe Adar here at the last minute was like, okay, you don't actually have to stab him.
Like you've been punked.
Wasn't that a scene from the Bible? God came up and said, "Hey, Abraham, if you love me, you need to kill your son." And he rose the hammer or axe or whatever to kill his son. And God's like, "Okay, you don't actually have to do it." But so they cut away. So we either
blasphemer.
They cut away from that scene, so we don't actually know.
All I said was that fish was good enough for Jehovah. No one is to throw a stone until I blow this whistle.
Okay. Anyway, so yeah, I still got a glimpse of his inner conflict or whatever, or
he's still conflicted. He's still conflicted.
Dual nature, but I was disappointed in him in this episode because I was like, oh, he's not as cool as he was in the last episode.
Right, he's still better than Galadriel.
Oh God, I don't even see. As you've noticed, I haven't even brought her up because she's so annoying.
Okay, can I just point out one thing? Which how did she get her armor at the end of this thing, getting on the boat? Right? Like, remember when Galadriel got on the boat and she's fully has her armor, her armor?
Yeah.
Didn't she left that on the boat? It's in Valinor somewhere, dude. And Jason pointed this out to me, which we both forgot. Galadriel cannot go to Valinor. That was part of her thing. That's why she's in Middle Earth.
Right.
You know,
didn't they ban the Noldor for coming back?
Yeah.
So she couldn't get in there anyway.
She couldn't get in there anyway. It's the dumbest thing. And again, it's they're making shit up, but
maybe they had the smiths at Numenor.
Yeah, Halbrand made it for her.
Yeah, Halbrand. He's like, here, baby.
Because he's the only one who saw that armor. He's like, hey, I made you something, baby girl.
Yes, I know your curvature so well.
Got you some armor, baby.
And there's this effing scene.
I know.
All right, we don't have to go through every scene, but
we might as well. I mean,
right. But basically, she's making this appeal, you need to come fight. Who will fight? Who will fight with me against our enemy? Right. And again,
who's gonna follow the old man?
I'm thinking Lord of the Rings. You didn't get a big battle and a big call to arms and a mustering of Rohan until well into the story after you already really cared about the characters and loved the characters. So this again is another writer's problem. I consider it a huge misstep on their part, where you have this like mustering of these rubes on, here at the tower, which is a parallel of the mustering of the rubes of Numenor. You had all those you take our jobs Numenor rubes, and these rubes are all being asked to fight and being pressed into military service.
For people who don't really care about them.
But yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's we actually like the orcs better, and so you're trying to rally support for characters we haven't learned to love yet. So
well,
Tolkien in Tolkien he doesn't go to war until the end. You're going war. You know what I mean?
They did Helm's Deep and
okay,
Towers.
But right. So he started getting people Two Towers, Theoden, trying to muster his guys. But the threat was imminent, and this threat is you still haven't seen enough of what the orcs are capable of doing or anything. You know what I mean? Right now they're just digging a tunnel, and all the threats from Sauron or the orcs, it's all hearsay almost. Well, that's how it feels. That's how it feels to me. It just feels like the threat hasn't been established, and so these cries to rally support for this cause of war, both on Numenor and here on this tower, just seem like I wouldn't sign up for this. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it falls on deaf ears, and and also it's such an annoying, almost situation where these people, these rubes down there on the ground floor. It seems like the writers have contempt for them, as they do the rubes in Numenor. The writers seem to have contempt for them because they're shown as being uncouth, unfriendly, kind of racist or whatever. And same with the people on Numenor. They don't like the common man, unless they can be pressed into military service for some foreign adventure again. You know what I mean? It's that's their only value. It's almost like a globalist agenda. It's
is it?
The globalist agenda, empire building. Let's go fight over there, so we don't have to fight them here.
Yeah, I know, but it's just bad writing, man.
Again, I'm just not sold on any of these characters, so I can't really feel passionate about their pleas for rallying to fight. When she rallies to fight, I'm my ears go ugh.
Again, I would be happier with this show if much like the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit, right? You had a series of adventures, little one-offs. Each series should be some kind of conflict and resolve. You know what I'm talking about?
And they build on each other. You learn a little bit more about the character each time.
Yeah, they're trying to make this big, long-ass movie that lasts 8 episodes. We're 5 episodes in, and it's okay. All right. So the grand finale's maybe they follow the Game of Thrones. So Game of Thrones, you had the big battle in the penultimate episode, and then in the last episode, it set up the next season. You know what I'm talking about? all the mystery. So I hope they don't follow that, because again, it's so derivative of. Here's the thing: they're trying to make this derivative of Game of Thrones, and all of the Game of Thrones, it would not exist had it not been for Tolkien. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right. But I haven't seen Game of Thrones, but I assume, I know the type, and I know that it would be one of these things I'd get hooked. And I'd be I wonder how that resolves. I wonder how that resolves. This one, I don't care about any of these stories.
Yeah,
because they don't seem to care about me. No, it's the Harfoots. There's no point to it. It's we're gonna wander around and stumble over things and find an unknown guy, and you're gonna care.
Yeah,
but nothing's I don't know.
Yeah, and none of the actors are charismatic enough really to
the writing was just so bad that I cringed when she's you must fight, and then Arondir tried to lend his support, and I'm that was bad acting.
Right.
check the tape.
Like I think they this whole scene was set up so he would bond with with her kid. You know what I'm talking about? Like, look, you're like I learned. It took me 200 years to not be afraid of the aim high, whatever.
Aim high.
Aim high and blah 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 blah. The kid's like, you know, and like it's like the whole stepdad, like loving stepdad, trying to like, you know, trying to like
Screw
get
you,
to,
you're not my dad.
You're not my dad. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, I'm gonna have patience with this little guy. We're gonna like, you know, like maybe we'd go to a ball game. You know,
I'll take him to a ball game. Get him a Padres hat.
Yeah. We'll have some hot dogs, some cotton candy, and you know, really, whatever it is. It's like he's trying to bond with the kid, and
he'll be like, I know I'm not your dad, but I really love your mom, and
I know, and your mom's like, you know, she treats me really good,
and
you know,
just be patient with me. You know, you don't have to think of me as anything other than a friend.
Right. Yeah, I know. Like, dude, I would be more interested if they did that, and we're just like, you know, me and your mom, like, we got something special. I'm gonna teach you how to shoot a bow. I promised her that. You know,
gonna just teach you how to use a bow staff.
Yeah, I know. So stupid. A lot of the people around here are trying to get me to join their gang because they heard I'm pretty good with a bow staff. But you know.
That's awesome.
There's a buttload of gangs in Mordor.
Yeah, the Southlands have a buttload of gangs.
That was a ripoff.
Oh dear. Okay. So, do you remember this scene?
Yeah, I do.
Dumb. It was like,
you could tell your dad to don't fight.
And then he's like, this is the writing. Whenever I try to tell him anything, he closes up his ears. Well, then talk louder.
Yeah. Use sign language.
Talk louder.
What you should do is you should write some words on a piece of paper and show it to him. He'll see it. But here's the other thing, though. Honestly, like I am so confused by this storyline because how are they going to war? I mean, like they're trying to make Galadriel into this like statesman. Like, what has she done to where like they're like, oh man, I'm going to follow this chick. You know what I'm talking about? Like
that's what I'm saying. Like both the appeals to go off to war are just completely premature. Before we like them, before we care about them, and before they should be even caring about each other. Like, why are the Númenóreans or even the Regent, or why are they so enamored of Galadriel when she's done nothing but annoy them and annoy us? And so it's like, why should we listen to her and her appeals for... But
you want to know what the stupidest thing is? The absolute stupidest thing is? Like, she doesn't know that any of this stuff is happening, right? Like, they, like the stuff that's happening in the Southland, she should be completely unaware of.
It's
it's
hearsay to her, right?
It's hearsay. The only thing that she's really going on is
Halbrand's account.
Halbrand's account, but the stupid sigil that whatever
right.
It is, like the map
so you find a map that resembles a symbol that you know's evil, and that's going to be enough of a precursor to rally the army of an entire nation.
But even if they're like Galadriel is like, yeah, there's a bunch of orcs over there. And we need to like make sure that the orcs don't kill people. I'm a bitch, so like just give me what I want, and we'll deal with this. Like it's so bad. There's no compelling reason. Like I'd be like, Galadriel, check it out. Here's a boat. You're ready to swim. The whole thing. So like here, row to your heart's content to get to.
Right. Farazan's son.
Gil Faizan.
The dumbest thing is when he tries to like blow up the boats. Don't you think that's a little extreme?
Dude, I mean, and the dumbest thing is like, he saved my life. I was blown up a boat, and no one was held accountable for anything. Like this kid, like, why were you on the boat,
Like,
Isildur?
why? I mean, Elendil, or sorry, Isildur. He didn't say this guy almost. He was trying to blow up our boats.
Yeah,
I mean,
like
did they really have that much of a bonding friendship in the water? So that he's like, oh, here's this terrorist trying to blow up our boats, but I'm not going to say anything because now we're buds.
Right. But the terrorist whose father's like the most powerful man in Numenor. Right. Okay. As far as like wielding influence and stuff like that. Like you don't think they could have used this to like oh, we're gonna use this to
Yeah. I'm just trying to think of what an equivalent would be. Like, let's say your dad, got a new.
I know exactly where you're going.
Exactly
where you're going.
Where was I going?
Say this kid smoked crack, and his dad was the most powerful man in the United States. But
oh no, I wasn't gonna go there actually.
Oh, okay.
But this guy smoked a lot of crack. No, I was just saying, like, let's say your dad was going to use his new Trans Am to go date your dad's new girlfriend after your parents broke up, right? And you were like, Dad, why do you have to go see that new girl? Can't you just stay loyal to Mom? And the dad's like,
dead. Your mom's dead, son.
No, I mean, would you pout about it, or would you like try to blow up?
I'd blow up
his Trans Am.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I mean, that just seems like that's kind of the equivalent. Like, it just seems like a little bit too far fetched.
But it's not even that. That's not even the equivalent. I can understand like the emotional trauma. Like this chick is just he's just like doing it for to get this to get in Elendil's daughter. Where'd she come from? Good graces. You know what I'm saying? And
but has she established herself as a peacenik? I mean, in prior episodes.
No, I don't think so.
I mean, all of a sudden they're like super opposed to war when their politics didn't seem. I mean, he seemed critical of his dad, Farazan, for knowing all the people in Numenor by name, and therefore being like a kind of a slimy politician, like being in everyone's business, trying to get rallying people's political support. But beyond that criticism, he never really said one way or another, like why, and I guess he doesn't like elves.
Yeah, but the thing is, man, is like this is like the same thing where there's no ramification. There's going to be no ramifications for this kid because you see that Isildur is on the boat. He's got to sweep the stables. His friends like him. They're all like one big happy Oh,
what about his friend punched Isildur?
Yeah,
like 2 times.
Yeah,
that was pure Tolkien, man.
Yeah, I know.
Punched him.
Yeah, like hey, we're gonna like you can hit me twice and we'll call it
and
even.
we'll be friends. But then he didn't even let him on the boat because that's why he had to sneak on the boat.
Yeah, and then it's just like who is like again, stoned 10th graders are writing this.
I know. Right. Like take a hit. Let's do the thing again. It's like take a hit. Like okay, the one guy gets made sergeant, but he's still mad at Isildur.
Dude, here's the thing though. Do you have brothers? Do you have a brother? Do you have a brother? Check it out. Like when I get mad at my brother, I'd say hit me, but don't tell Mom. Let's have them do that so you can symbolize that they're brothers. It's like there's no consistency. There's none. You know what I'm talking about? I mean, again, you can attribute it to different writers, to different directors, like how each like I like maybe each director is like like maybe each writer's like this. Maybe they're doing a Rian Johnson where like in the second not to get all Star Wars on you, but in the second movie of a trilogy, he's like, I've got to tell my story, man. Like I'm only taking that, and so maybe each director has to tell their story. Right. So like
rather than being subservient to the Star Wars franchise,
the story,
or they'll be like, I need to scrawl my big name all over this and just piss on it.
I need to pee all over this.
I gotta mark my territory on this
I know it's so dumb, but you know, again, it's I wish this made sense. I wish this I wish I'm like apathetic to the characters, and I'm confused half the time because I'm like, how do they get here? You know what I'm saying? Like, well,
yeah, I'm apathetic and confused as well. But again, at first I started doing this and being interested in it because it purported to be Tolkien, right? And then I was like, okay, it's not really Tolkien. And now, if you know, it used to be that my heart kind of sank at it, like, oh, look what they're doing to Tolkien. Now I'm just like, regardless of Tolkien, I'm thinking like, here's a human endeavor that many people, a lot of hands went into building, a lot of money, a lot of resources, all these costumes and all this, you know, pageantry or whatever, like in this shot. People worked on it really hard. And I'm like, just in that sense, I'm like, I want to like it because I like when people try to do things.
right,
So
right.
it just is heartbreaking how terrible this is and how much each scene leaves me cold and leaves me wondering why they did it.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. This is just I am like I'm watching this show fascinated now because it's like, all right,
Like,
like
what could they possibly up next?
like the director's like, I've got a really talented friend who you know who aspires to be a choreographer.
Who does fight choreography?
Yeah, he does fight choreography off Broadway. So let's bring him in.
He does fight choreography for a high school theater.
Yeah. Like, yeah, it's like, I'm going to, like, again, I've said this like every time. The absolute worst stereotypes of showing strong women is what they're doing with Galadriel. There's like, these are like people who have never like actually been around strong women.
Right.
Writing like a strong woman. You know,
they're writing cliches.
Yeah, she's a cliche of everything unlikable about like oh, you just don't like her because she's a strong woman. No,
Yeah.
dude, I they're like I've been around like strong women, people like women that like back in the 60s and 70s, like that were leaders in their fields, like in my family and stuff like that. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Like they don't need to like sit there and prove themselves. It's like,
Right.
like they just carry themselves and like, oh man, one like I think my least favorite elf aside from like Celebrimbor was there, but Gil Galad.
Oh, he's terrible.
My God, that guy's just so bad.
He's terrible.
You know what I'm saying? It's like,
but what is the point? Like this is them smoking the joint again.
I know.
Like, oh, I know. There can be like a table that for no reason, Durin is like, hey, this is my table. This belongs to us dwarves.
This
it's
is
supposed
our
to be it's supposed to be in a place of reverence to build like, you know, to build burial monuments and stuff.
Here's the thing. So these elves have been around since the beginning of time.
Yeah.
You don't think that they would know that?
It's just so random. Like, why?
Yeah, but it's
and then
but
I'll
again,
give it to Disa, my wife.
Yeah. And and again, you see that Elrond like respects his elves, and then he's like, hey, like, you know, they have like, can you say it again? The fate of the elves are in your hand. Oh, say it again, laddie.
It's like he's
fate.
off to it. Like, oh, say it again.
Yeah,
say it deeper.
Like, slow down.
Say it one more time. And then, hold on. Like, this whole thing, I know, like, it's not canon, but it's also dumb. Like, again, they depart from canon, but they do it in the dumbest ways. Where, like, the reason the elves are declining is because they need to bathe themselves in the light of the Mithril. They need to get this Mithril and like, oh yes, Mithril. Rub it all over me. Rub the light of these Cimmerals by proxy all over my body.
Right.
Is that in Tolkien? I've never heard of that.
Yeah, I've never heard of that.
It doesn't sound like something Tolkien would say.
The elves liked it because because it was beautiful.
Right.
You know what I'm
that
saying?
was the only reason. It's not like
make really beautiful stuff with Mithril.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't like Centrum Silver.
I know.
It wasn't like, they just liked it because it was beautiful and probably useful.
Yeah. Beautiful, useful. I mean,
that should be enough.
Everybody knows what Mithril is. Even people who don't read Tolkien knows what Mithril is, because Mithril is it's now part of D&D. It's now part of
right.
It's like Mithril and adamantium. You know what I'm talking about? It's like probably the same
I have that
thing.
album.
Yeah. Dude, we should totally make that album.
This stuff here, it made me hate Durin even more.
Oh, God, I know.
Because I'm like, so he lies to his friend, and then when he's like, oh, the fate of the elves is on my hands, I'm going to just say that to myself a bunch of times because I'm getting some kind of my jollies off. Getting kicks off of that.
I'm getting a chub.
Getting a wee little chub.
Getting a wee little tingling down in my britches.
It was so dumb. And I'm like, who decided that? Who decided to?
You know what, man? The not only are like stone 10th graders like writing this, but it's like stone 10th graders that have no idea like what a broad humor is. This is like,
they don't understand women. They don't understand humor. They don't understand loyalty or how to build suspense. They don't understand when you need to like have a climactic battle scene or how to build towards one, because I haven't felt anything building
except for the Zurich Ziegel in Durin's pants.
There's a Zurich Ziegel. There's a Balrog in Durin's pants. That just sounds terrible. Sounds like he shat himself. There's a big Balrog. There's a big steaming Balrog, and
this big steaming pile of Balrog in me britches.